Continuing on in our series, we're now going to look at how to actually go about making changes to an existing table configuration. So we've already gone to our desktop. We've clicked on the shortcut link for our dashboard, and we've opened the dashboard. From here, we go to the Mainboard config editor, and we click on it. Our configuration editor will open, and we can select a table. In this case, once again, we'll use attack from Mars since it's one that I'm familiar with. We click on Refresh Retrieve, and we're presented with the existing entries for our configuration. So to start with something simple, let's say we wanted to make the bumper mid-center solenoid, which is not currently assigned to anything, fire at the same time that the mid-left, or rather, let's go to the back center, at the back center would fire. For argument's sake, just say we want a stronger effect at that point, so we want the two solenoids to fire. What we would do would be to copy the solenoid switches that we wanted to use for the increased effect, and we'd enter them into this box. So in this case, we'll enter S12. We'll use the pipes, which is the shift / key. S16, the pipes once again. And let's say the W44. So now, anytime any of these fire, it will not only fire the bumper mid-center, but it'll also fire the bumper back center. If we wanted to add, say, the fire button to trigger at the same time as the launch ball button would, it would be a matter of copying the same information we have for the start button or the launch button, which would be down here, and entering it in to the appropriate spots. So beside the name of the output, we're going to enter in the trigger, which in this case is L86. We need to determine the speed. Now, if we just wanted it to come on solid, we would just enter on and we'd be complete. We'd be done with what we need to do. That would turn on that output, and it would be solid light as every time that output came on. If that output that we're using, which is the launch button, happened to be a blinking output, then it would just do a rapid blinking effect in time with the output being triggered in the table. If we want it to do a fade, then we have to enter our fade information. So we start with AFDEN, which is our density, which is the range or the depth of the fade that we want it to go, and we want it to do 100%. The minimum that we want it to go to is how dim we want the light to be when it fades all the way down. That's AFMIN, and the value we're going to use for this will be 75. This is on a scale of 0 to 255, so 75 is going to take us to a very dim state, but it's not going to completely turn off the button. If we go to the next parameter, that's our maximum brightness. That's AF max, and in this case we want it to go to 250, which is almost fully on. And because we want it to fade and not flicker, we put in AFADE, and we put in a value of 250, which is our range. Now, if those were all the changes that we were making and we were happy with them, we would click on the Refresh Retrieve button, and we get a pop-up that says, do you want to save your changes? If we're happy with them, then yes, we do. We've now changed the configuration in that, for that ROM, Attack from Mars, in the database. So we can reduce down that screen, and if we want to actually apply the changes to our INI file, we come to the Config Cabinet File Generator screen. We come up to View and down to Data Sources. Now we want to open our table, which is the ODB config tool table, and we want to open the TAO config data table. We want to select everything that we have there, and we want to come down to config data at the bottom of the page and select the import region. At this point, we're ready to import our data. So we come up to the Data to Text button right up here and click on that. Now what it's doing is it's bringing in the database with the changes we just made into the utility that we use in order to make the actual INI file. This can take a couple of minutes because it's importing the entire database and putting it all into the proper locations in the spreadsheet for our ability to be able to configure or generate a file from this. Now it's complete, so we can click anywhere in this box to turn that off. And we can click anywhere in this to deselect that. We would then come down back to the main screen, and we would click Save to File. And it asks us where we want to save our new INI file with our changes that we made. In this case, I'll put it on the desktop. We click Save, and that's it. At this point in time, if we went to our desktop, we could either copy that file to the USB drive and take it to our cabinet and install it in our config folder on our hard drive. Or if we're using this utility on that computer, we could have saved it directly to that location and just overwritten the existing file. That's how easy it is to make your changes. Once we're done with this, we can close out the data sources. We're back to the main screen. We can save our configuration because we've just changed a few parameters in the one table. And now we have the current database with those changes saved into our new database, or our existing database rather. If we come back to the config editor screen, every change that we've made here is now in that INI file, and it'll be translated to actually run with our table. That's how you go about editing an existing table. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back with another video shortly.